Hello, and welcome to The Day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. Today, we are talking about Core 14 Pioneer Sleeper picks. Before we get into it, just want to ask real quick if you wouldn't mind hitting like, hitting subscribe, if you like it by the end of the video. Jake, any caveats to that?
I only have my one, and
Yeah?
it's if you're just here to watch and you don't want to do work, I'm not going to ask you to push buttons if you're not logged in. But if you are logged in, don't be lazy. Give us a click.
Come on, give us a click. Let's get into Core 14. You
Yes.
see Scavenging Ooze, that's the first one. What I want to do real quick is give you our thought process behind these picks. These are not the top picks. These are not the most powerful cards that everybody's building into their decks right now to try and figure out who can get a card banned first the fastest. These are
Yeah,
picks...
Right, correct. We're not going to be talking about, the Thought Seizes and Jace Vryn's Prodigies
Exactly.
and Mana Confluences
Right.
and all of the cards that everybody's talking about. We're talking about cards that are cheap, cards that have been impactful in other formats. Obviously, Scavenging Ooze. We're
Right.
talking about Scavenging Ooze. This is a card that holds like a price point of, just about $4 or $5 right now.
And
It
that's
will likely go up.
about as high as we're trying to go. $4 or $5 is our top, is our ceiling. We're really aiming under $1. But Scavenging Ooze, come on. This card is versatile as hell. At the very least, you're looking at this as a sideboard card.
Yeah, it gets more value out of obviously fetch lands, and this format has fetch lands that are banned. But Scavenging Ooze is nothing to take to shake a stick at. This is a card that will absolutely be in green sideboards.
Right.
It hoses any kind of graveyard strategies. So for a 2/2 bear, there's a lot of value on Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, I'm telling you, as a green player, and if you're watching through the series or even this video, you'll see that I pick green cards that are probably marginal, but I'm like, I can't wait to brew that in. Scavenging Ooze is in the sideboard at the outset as I'm building that deck. Moving on to Burning Earth. All right,
Yeah,
Jake, this
really
is
cool
one
enchantment.
that I put in the list after you sent me what was our finalized list.
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah.
I play, I think that I'm coming off of Golos and being real annoyed at like Gates and Golos in Standard. And if I had had this in the sideboard, I would have been like, Golos is fine. Let him play Golos.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. This is a spicy pick, and I really like it because a lot of people are going to be brewing like 5-color and random strategies.
Right.
Do I think it's a sideboard card? Absolutely.
100%.
But it's still really good, and it's very punishing for anybody who's running 3 or more
Three or
colors.
more colors. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Now, it's 4 cost, so it's a little bit slow. You definitely,
fine.
like, if it's a 3 cost, auto. If it's a 2 cost, of course. So if you're in like red green and you can ramp up to this and get it out really quickly, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, coming off of Golos, I saw Burning Earth when I was going through the lists of M14 cards, and I was like,
yeah.
oh my god, this is automatic for me.
Yeah, it's a fun card. It's spicy. It's an enchantment, so it's sticky.
Right.
It's obviously very cheap, but yeah, I'm a fan.
So after that, we've got Devout Invocation, a 7 cost, which I think is going to be restrictive. But
Sure.
I mean, you're coming in, you're tapping a bunch of creatures you control to turn them into 4/4 white flyers.
I'm gonna tell you where I think that this card could really shine.
Yeah.
Imagine a blue-white controlled list based around Teferi, Time Raveler, and Saheeli.
Yeah.
And so Saheeli is making all of these tokens.
Making 1/1s, yeah.
And then as you get late game, you use Devout Invocation as a finisher.
Yeah.
Turn all of those little servos into big, 4/4 flyers in the air.
Absolutely.
If your opponent doesn't have a board wipe, it's most likely going to close out the game. You know how oppressive Saheeli can be. We've played against it in Modern and Standard, and it makes a ton of servos in the right shell.
Absolutely, it does. I can see this as like a one-off in a deck
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
For sure.
Not going to run multiple copies. You don't want to see
But it's
this
also
more
a
than
mythic,
once.
and it's like $1.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are the kind of cards that we're hunting for. Now,
Exactly.
here's an uncommon, but it's Young Pyromancer. If you're looking at this from a finance standpoint, you're looking at the foils, but Young Pyromancer has been a card on the tip of everyone's tongue every time it's in Standard.
For sure. And it has a lot of reprints, but we have a whole new format that is most likely, we were talking about it earlier today, but you pair this alongside Monastery Mentor.
Yeah.
That's going to make prowess dudes whenever you cast non-creature, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, Young Pyromancer is making 1/1 red elementals.
Right.
So it's definitely like a Boros go wide, but Young Pyromancer, modern, legacy.
See, I don't think it's
awesome.
just a Boros go wide. Think about Arclight Phoenix decks. Arclight Phoenix decks have splashed in standard and in modern, so at least somebody's going to find the right combination of spells and cards to toss cards into the graveyard that's going to make that card work in Pioneer as well. So Young Pyromancer, I would be very interested to try this card in that deck and see that if it gives the right return. You're at least making blockers to stave off early aggro, and you're making enough 1/1s to push across enough damage before control can lock you out.
Dude, it's one of those cards where when you look at it, you're like, is this card a lightning rod? And it absolutely is.
Yeah.
It is a must answer, because the second that they've cast a spell and they've made one dude off of this, it's already hit value.
Right.
So once you've done that 2 or more times, the card is just already exploded, and there's ways to buff, your 1/1s. I mean, I'm thinking of Cavalcade right off the top of my head.
Sure.
As ways to get value out of a go-wide strategy.
Yeah,
but
Cavalcade,
anyway,
Young Pyromancer deck, that would be so dope.
Oh yeah, exactly. So turn 2, you have Pyromancer go online. Turn 3, Cavalcade. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. You drop
we'll find
Cavalcade, I
something.
think, in this deck once you have the board full. But yeah, I mean, I think it works perfectly in there. After that, we've got something that is going to be maybe sideboard, maybe main board in a mono white strategy.
That's
or
exactly
some kind
how
of
I
Boros
feel.
strategy.
It's exactly how I feel.
Right, but you're not ever going to turn down, especially in the sideboard, pro black, pro red, first strike lifelinker for 3.
Dude, pro black, pro red.
Yeah.
That's what really sells me on this card. Is it hoses Murderous Rider, Dreadbore, any mono red removal.
Right.
Like, it's just so much. So when you think like, okay, blue can bounce this, green you can like rabid bite it. There's ways to answer the card. Obviously, white, there's a plethora of spells.
Of course, but a lot of the
sideboard
premium
card-
removal, right, that's exactly the thing. A lot of the premium removal we've looked at, Abrupt Decay, red, black, any of them, they all have red or black in them. And so this as a sideboard card is really, really going to be a house, I think.
Well, and also there's a lot of night support. So I'd be very surprised, we have that new land, we have that new Mardu land that allows you to, cast any Mardu colors
Knights
for
or equipment,
knights or equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of night support, so I'd be very surprised if we don't, at least at the onset of the format, see Knight's deck pop up.
And that's the thing. That's what's so exciting about this format is just it's an open Brewer's Paradise right now.
It's in its infancy right now, so it's really, really exciting to see, like, whoa, where are we heading? What's gonna be?
And a good place for starting is tribal. Is look at the tribes, see what the best support is across those, and see if you're able to outrace any of the non-tribe, pair decks or tricolor decks that are just trying to play best spells on curve. And when you're looking at tricolor, 4-color decks, they're not going to have fetch lands. They're not going to have the land support and mana bases that they would in modern.
That's true.
So it's still a possibility. Savage Summoning is up next. Instant speed sideboard card for a green deck. Right here in the heart when I saw that you had added this one to the list. This is the kind of thing that I'm bringing in as a 4 of, instead of, like a ramp spell or whatever, look in the top 4 once upon a time kind of card.
Bro,
that comes out for Savage Summoning, so that the counterspell deck, control deck that inevitably makes a splash, can't touch my creatures that already can't be countered on them, because like Ceratops comes in alongside this, but Savage Summoning is huge.
It really stuck out to me because it's a lot going on for 1 mana.
Right. At instant speed.
Yes. And yeah, dude, it's so much. It's a counter. It's a can't be countered. It's the next thing you do can't be countered. It would be really surprising if there's no home for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best way to cast a spell like this is to cast your creature, See if
Oh,
they
yeah.
drop a counterspell on it.
For sure.
Then Savage Summoning right on top of that. You're not leading with this. So it's a great surprise for Game 2, especially if you were able to pound them down in Game 1.
For sure. For sure.
Moving on from that, we've got Ratchet Bomb. What can I say about Ratchet Bomb that hasn't already been said? Wiper removal? Come on, baby. Let's do it.
Oh, dude, it's the hose for tokens.
Right.
It's
Immediate.
Yeah, it's artifact removal for any color deck, any deck that
Right.
needs to find a strategy to destroy permanents. It's clunky, but it does exist on Ratchet Bomb.
Well, and I think it's a good note for the format as a whole. Ratchet Bomb is in this format. Your token strategies, just like in Modern, may not be as viable as you think they'll be, even though you're going to have a ton of support across a ton of format, across
Sure.
a ton of sets, because Ratchet Bomb does exist still.
And it does depend a lot on how diverse the format is, whether or not Ratchet Bomb becomes a main player in sideboards.
Sure.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't, because it hits important cards. So, yeah, I think it's an important card to include, especially at 79 cents to $1.
I'm telling you, and that's where we're trying to live with this series. After that, we got another artifact, which, I'll be honest, when I saw it on the list, I went, Jake, Trading Post? Really? Jake, you're going to have to explain this one to him.
I picked it for versatility.
Yeah.
I really did. I like a card that comes with, a toolbox of effects, and Trading Post is no exception.
Right.
It's obviously cheap as dirt.
So cheap. It's so
but
cheap.
in a
It
right-
maybe
in a
pops
right
up in
format.
EDH decks, but
Yeah.
not even.
Yes, for sure. For sure you would see this in EDH decks. It's a fun budget card, and it speaks to someone like me who is the Johnny player that is just looking for a multitude of effects and things that I can do to, just, I don't know, have the best chance in like a against any kind of deck.
Sure.
Any kind of deck.
Well, and look,
whatever's
from
gonna
a spike standpoint, if you're trying to sit there and brew a Karn deck or like an Ugin deck, then that limits your colorless or gives your artifacts affinity, cards
Yeah.
like that. This is at the very least on the consideration list, just because of how versatile it is. But when you look at the versatility, I mean, it's not removing anything. It's drawing you cards, maybe. It's returning things from your graveyard to your hand. So that can be, I think, the most valuable there. But you do have to sack a creature, which it does allow you to create itself. So at least it
Yeah.
self-enables. And so, it's kind of in between for me. I think it could work well in a shell like that, maybe where you could, when you get there, turn it into a 4/4 creature that swings, and it's the Trading Post swinging in for damage. But the versatility until then kind of gives it some allowance of it can be on the consideration lists of decks.
Yeah, I think if it were 5 or more mana, I just absolutely wouldn't include it. But at four, once you untap, you're able to start doing things, and I
Right.
think that's why we're here with it today.
Yeah, it just like barely hits that line at 4 mana.
It does. Right.
So Silence is next, and beside being some of the dopest art in core
Really cool
sets that I've ever loved, it's a really great spell to cast at their untap step, their upkeep step.
Yeah. In response to your draw.
Right.
Silence.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a control shell, obviously, that this is
for
built
sure.
into, because otherwise you don't really care. You're building in removal to your aggro decks to clear the board and
Yep.
clear your path to attack. But in the right control shell, or if there are any decks that just consistently look at Golden Goose and Oko in Standard right now. Turn 1 Goose, turn 2 Oko, turn 3 Wicked Wolf. It's take them off their curve, slow them down for a second. Maybe blue-white
Yeah.
tempo, kind of just like
For
da,
sure.
da, 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 until I get
That's
my
why this-
dude.
That's why this card exists, and
Right.
this card is played, in fringe decks. It's played in modern in a couple decks. It's a card that obviously, people know it's a powerful effect in
Yeah.
the right situation. You're essentially time walking your opponent. You're just saying, okay, yeah, draw your card, and now it's my turn again.
And it can't be more than like $1 or $2, right? This card is...
Oh no, it's cheap. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's super cheap.
under. Quicken is another 1 mana spell out of
Yeah, you're gonna
M14.
notice a lot of 1 mana spells coming out of
Sure.
Core 2014 today, and it's because they're all very powerful.
Well, look, Quicken replaces itself. It lets you cast a sorcery on their turn, so you can respond to something that they're doing with your sorcery speed removal or your sorcery speed discard, whatever you've got. So some sorcery that will allow you to do what you want to as it comes around. EOT Quicken, cast your sorcery, comes back to me kind of thing, you know?
Yep, and draw a card.
Oh yeah, it cantrips. And so that's, you know, that's always going to be a win in Jake's book. Traumatize comes up after that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, Mill anyone?
Bro, I am. There's got to be a format where Mill works, right?
Oh
it has to exist.
If it's this one, I will just applaud and clap you, my man.
Well, we got Breaking. Obviously, we didn't get Glimpse the Unthinkable,
Sure.
but we do have Breaking, which was in, I believe, Dragon's Maze.
Right.
And so being able to mill 8 along this new Merfolk that you know drives me crazy.
Right.
Comes in and mills
Drowned
4
Secret
and then becomes
Keeper
a
or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then becomes a 0-4.
That's the thing. In the last couple of sets, we've actually gotten some decently strong mill options with Drowned Secrets, with 3 blue, 1 other Jace that South Mills, new Ashiok, right. And so the possibility of building this deck, I think, has never been higher. Honestly, with mill, if it's ever going to happen and be a viable deck in any format, it's gotta be it's gotta be Pioneer, right?
No, I really do think, you know, there's a reason it's here. It's a very cheap card, but it's an important mill card to an abbreviated, let's just call it an abbreviated modern.
Yeah.
Or as one of our someone commented on one of the videos, a postmodern format.
Hey, not a bad name for it.
Yeah, it honestly it tickled me when I read it. I was like, this is genius. But yes, in this postmodern format, this Pioneer format, you know, we're really looking for what are important archetypes. Obviously, you know, aggro, control, but for me specifically, it's like mill. What can we do that's mill? Like mill in modern, I pushed it and I tried my darndest.
You tried.
But in Pioneer, we have Scheming Symmetry, which recently came out, a card I was high on. We have Ashiok. We have Traumatize. We have
Drowned Secrets.
We have we have Breaking. We have Secret Keeper and Drowned Secrets. Yes, all these cards that are great.
Huge.
And so I think if Mill were ever to make a push, could it be here? Maybe. Honestly, maybe. Because also in, I believe, Gatecrash, we got, I believe the card is Corpse Swift, or whatever it is where you go and you exile any number of target creatures from an opponent's graveyard, and then you gain life for each card exiled that way. I might have the name of the card wrong, but it absolutely exists in Pioneer.
I mean, you're gonna have cards like Pithing Needle, I'm pretty sure, will be in this format. And cards like that where they are in your sideboard, and as soon as you know what your matchup is, you can go and take out their heavy hitters as you throw the rest of their deck away as well.
Yeah, that's true. You can be like, okay, I know I'm about to play against Teferi Time Raveler, but also another thing to think about in this format is also we do have all of the ley lines, and by all I mean the 2 important ones, which are Leyline of the Void and Leyline of Sanctity.
Right.
So if Leyline of Sanctity, if Burn becomes a huge deck in the format, then obviously people are going to have Leyline of Sanctity in their sideboard, and if you know, graveyard decks become a big thing, people are going to have Leyline of the Void. Right. So like Modern, it will be the similar pitfalls that are going to prevent Mill from getting there. But I'm going to stay hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, man, if there's any format for you to be hopeful in, it's going to be this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it shakes out.
That takes us back to Scavenging Ooze, and that takes us to the end of the M14 sleeper picks for Pioneer. Let us know what we missed in the set. We're constantly looking. We are very excited for this format. We would be more excited if it was on Arena, but that's just me going bong, bong, bong. Make it your Premier format.
I feel the same way.
We appreciate you watching. We've got links to our Patreon in the description below if you want to support us further. Like and subscribe if you like the video, all the stuff. We're streaming twice a week on Twitch, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm tapped out. Jake, you got anything else?
I have this random box with Chandra on it.
Nice. How about this? Here's a random wrapper to a Throne of Eldraine collector's booster. That's not timely. Okay, bye!